Hello, friends. This is Archangel. You may not be aware, but there is an epidemic that affects nearly every male you know. It is called validation solicitation syndrome. You see, when you get approval from females in the form of attention or physical touch, you are receiving validation from them. They confirm or validate your existence, and this is a very temporary confirmation of your desirable status to any female. This strokes your ego and gives you a rush of excitement and feel-good chemicals from your own cerebral pharmacy. In an existence where we are all separate, receiving the approval of other separate individuals is the highest coveted expression of relevance in this life, that you are special and others recognize this. Being validated from external entities, such as other people, this seductively suggests to your ego that you are different, unique. You are not simply an unspectacular cog in a machine like the other 6 or 7 billion ants out there. But you matter, and others christen your special status when they compliment you or give you attention or affection. All of these are simply means of conveying approval, and approval is validation of worth. And validation of worth is the holy grail to a sex that is deemed expendable and worth less than their uterine-equipped counterparts. Males are made to feel worth less than females, and so receiving validation or approval from the value-rich sex is the be-all, end-all in many males' existence. They chase value through one compliment or kiss at a time. You must understand that external validation, especially from an attractive female, elicits a strong chemical rush and is a temporary emotional band-aid over the gaping lacerations inflicted by devaluation and disposability. Yet external validation is a losing game. Males thus go around doing anything they can to solicit validation from females, and this validation solicitation by males is, quite literally, an emotional disorder of worthlessness and feelings of aloneness, which they seek remedy to through this validation solicitation, which morphs into an addiction. Males literally live for the next fix, the next high. If males could take one compliment or sexual encounter with a female and be content, even for the rest of their lives, that would be fine. It was like a vacation. You went and saw Stonehenge, and you took pictures, and you have good memories, and you are content, even if you never see Stonehenge again in your lifetime. Yet the problem is, because males are made to feel inferior in worth and undeserving of affection, this creates painful inner turmoil, which males use external validation solicitation to fill. And thus males can't simply enjoy the occasional temporary high they get from a female compliment or sexual encounter and leave it alone. No, they become obsessed and try everything they can to precipitate the next encounter, the next ego stroking, the next rush of chemical intoxicants, and the next after that. They are ravenously obsessed tourists that want to go back and see Stonehenge over and over and over again to continually confirm the experience in their minds. Males become fixated and experientially dependent on the next rush of interaction, even though each succeeding rush is simply a reenactment of chasing the initial high, in this case, chasing the feelings that you got from your first love or your first real orgasm. And usually the first high of any type is the best. However, to those with validational solicitation syndrome, the next high is the best high, and you seek it out as if your life depended on it. Validation seeking is an addiction, which takes many shapes: sex, physical touch, verbal approval, ego stroking, social reputation, individual or public attention, positive acknowledgement, positive reinforcement, and identity bolstering. All are various forms of validation that males seek from female placation, interaction, and servitude, whether it be flirtation, fellatio, or approval from greater society for white knighting. All stroke male identity, which bolsters worth. And when the disposable male feels glimpses of value, this causes a release of feel-good drugs into his physiological structure. Before validation solicitation syndrome sets in, males sought interaction with females for two primary reasons: procreation and partnership, meaning companionship as well as division of chores, such as her tending to the cave as he hunted the buffalo. However, as survival became less a consuming priority and we had leisure time to pay attention to and indulge in hedonism, males replaced hunting and gathering with chasing the chemical high that female interaction gave them, and thus they began structuring their lives around chemical rewards from courtship rituals, sexual pleasure, and an unquenchable desire for outside validation in a material world of separateness. Yet this caused a downward catch-22 spiral, for as males fell prey to validation solicitation syndrome in increasing numbers with each succeeding generation, this influenced and formed societal opinion regarding gender roles and worth, which eventually formed environmental indoctrination to exalt the females and devalue the males, which places a premium on female attention. So now males are socially mandated to prostrate themselves before females, and so leisure has become legislation. Males once enjoyed females. Now they are ordered to service females as if their life depended on it, for indeed in many cases it does. There is no longer release or recreation in female flirtation. It is all obligatory actions of desperation, males seeking to fill an emotional void or emotional upheaval. Validation solicitation is a thirsty disorder, and so requires as many sources as possible. Even if a male restricts his sexual validation to one source, such as the wife or girlfriend, these males still solicit validation from every female he encounters, whether it be a flirtatious smile, or the attention and approval that accompanies the chivalry or heavy lifting that he does for anonymous females in public. Either way, he is still soliciting attention and approval from all females alike, young, old, married, single, familiar, or unknown. And being a thirsty disorder that one source of attention could not hope to satisfy, thus males get the reputation of being players, or of having wandering eyes, unable to be monogamous, because they are constantly on the lookout for a new source of dope. Validation from new sources bring a more concentrated chemical release than familiar sources. And so males love that new car scent, that rush of potent chemical highs that comes from a new source of sex and flirtation, that new adventurous rush of mingling male and female energies. You see, the chemical rush of any male-female association peaks fast and drops quite quickly, usually within a few months. This is where we say the honeymoon period of any relationship is over, when the chemical highs have waned. Yet even after the chemical highs have faded and males are saddled with annoyance and misery, the majority of males stick it out, because they have an inner compass of caring and protection. That is, until her thirst, her hypergamy, kicks in, and she ends the association in the flames of asset extortion or emotional betrayal. Either way, the male generally suffers more in any dissolution or breakup, especially when the male has invited the state into their personal affairs via a legal incorporation coined marriage. Males went from hunters and warriors to validation-chasing doormats, and this always blows up in their face, and they are left broken, hurting, and financially trespassed. Yet if tutelage does not kill a male, doesn't it make him stronger? Don't they take this experience and sow wisdom in order to stay sober and free of the female dope? Nope. After a male has been burned, their validation addiction hits the advanced stage, unicorn chasing. When males are ready, some immediately, some a year or two later, they once again entertain the thirst, which never fled, but only hovered within them in dormancy. They still have a need to fill an emotional void, and so they court validation solicitation syndrome once again, and they are off and running, ravenous for validation and thinking themselves all the wiser that this go around they will simply avoid the bad females. This is contemporary male existence, addiction to attention in order to sate physical dependence to chemical highs, as well as bind emotional wounds of being a devalued creature. And this is why males become validation addicts, who will commit all manner of treachery chasing their addiction. Lie, cheat, steal, backstab family, friends, assault, even murder. And all this treachery is invoked when males chase female validation. They will change their dreams, their ambitions, the course of their very lives. They will uproot and move. They will change jobs or work hazardous jobs, or spend the best years of their lives working jobs that prematurely age their bodies, just so they might have the financial ability to afford female attention by attracting the validation of pretty dope dealers with their nice car or clothes or their house or fat bank account. When validation solicitation syndrome has fully taken hold of its male host, there is nothing males won't and haven't done to obtain the drug that they seek. They will mock and demean themselves. They will hurt themselves. They will kneel, grovel, beg, cry, placate, pander, and pamper females. They will take female abuse and simultaneously protect their female abusers from harm. They will suffer in silence day after week after month after year because of the careless words or heartless actions of females. Yet they will forgive and take females' next volley of abuses. They will marginalize and disown family, friends, and they will maliciously abuse other males whom they see as competition in their bid to win validation from the exalted females. And since males are the only sex they are allowed to put their hands on in anger, thus they take all the hurt they receive from females and vent it onto each other through tactile assault, since they are made to believe that they cannot vent their anger at the source of those who abuse them, females. For so many reasons do males become validation addicts, earmarked for this addiction from birth, because we need each and every male to chase the female validation addiction in order for society to run, since males will build, maintain, and feed the governmental revenue machine as they work to acquire the money or material things they need to chase this addiction. And when males have an accident, or two, or three, they will have no choice. They must continue feeding commerce, the community, and the tax machine as they support and protect these kids and their mother. So we need males to chase females. Hence we need the seeds of validation solicitation syndrome to germinate as quickly as possible in the male host, because upon the backs of male validation addiction is all of society balanced. Validation solicitation syndrome is nearly ubiquitous in the male population. It is indeed very rare for such a huge portion of the populace to be infected with such a disorder. It is actually very statistically significant. This male devaluing perfect storm requires a combination of key ingredients: a biological predisposition and environmental trigger. The predisposition comes in the form of males drawn to females for procreation and out of protective instincts. And then the environmental trigger comes in the form of societal female elevation and male devaluation. And voila, we have males seeking attention and approval from those whom we value above all else. Males pursue female approval to the point of obsession. It is unhealthy, and it is a very real mental emotional disorder. Every once in a while you will get an unruly male who somehow rejects portions of this programming and does not conform. Yet, to place perspective here for the sake of debate, even if we allow 1 million adult males who reject this addiction, still out of roughly 1 billion adult males that comprise the Western world populace, well, that is much less than even 1%. So the majority of males are following their programming, bowing down, and tacitly approving of the abuse the male sex is saddled with. And really, only monks or ghosting males truly eschew female validation addiction. All others, including players or bad boys, men's rights, men's activism, they are still chasing validation through modified interaction. They may not be married or in long-term relationships, but they still get their fix, their validational high through sex and or dating and open, gratuitous flirtation. So out of the entire population, only a handful are actually cognizant of and battling this epidemic affliction. There are very few cyber communities discussing this male plague, and even fewer males practicing the treatment of turning their backs on female attention. And of that group of cognizant males, some are forced into this because they are physically unattractive and thus repulsive to the superficial sensitivities of females. So the numbers of males that could chase validation but choose not to are so woefully small that it is no wonder there is no legislative impact, nor that society has not collapsed, because validation solicitation syndrome is so epidemic that society and its gynocentric taskmasters will, it seems, go on without interruption well into the future. Validation solicitation syndrome is real and is a compulsory disorder that affects most males, including the majority of those listening. Some males are functional validation-aholics. Others are full-blown female attention junkies. Initial symptoms are mental preoccupation, thinking about interactions with females, planning interactions with females, and then actively seeking interaction with females. This establishes need in that male's mind for females. Then males reach the action stage, where they will start modifying their lives to more closely align with the goal of female interaction. They will change their appearance to receive approval. They will labor to make money to afford female attention. They will demean themselves around females, and they will take on a general tenor of dislike towards other males, whom are direct threats, competing junkies who only exist to take from you that which you live for, female approval. Then, in the advanced stages of the disorder comes desperation. Males will endure abuse, shame, besmirchment, belittlement, marginalization, all manner of devaluation as they openly service females, and teach younger males that female subjugation is what it means to be a man. In this pitiful stage, males will gladly endure humiliation and abuse from females, being grateful that he still gets acknowledgement at all. This is the crux of the addiction, where validation has morphed from fun recreational chemical high to frenzied desperative need. No longer is female acknowledgement an exciting rush, but now it is used for the male just to reach an equilibrium. Now, males need female attention and approval just to function, because in this stage of validation solicitation syndrome, without their constant supply of female validation, a nasty, horrible crash awaits them. Female validation no longer gives them euphoria. Now it simply sustains them, like the next glass of water, then the glass after that, and the next after that. Chasing approval from the exalted female consumes male lives, and this parasite becomes the core of male identity. They are nothing without female attention. In fact, their existence is to be of service to females, and in the mind of the addict, anything that threatens their validation threatens their very life. As males, we are all exposed to validation solicitation syndrome. It is almost an assurity that you yourself are, or you know males who are junkies, addicts to female validation. The only question is, what stage of addiction or recovery are you in? Friends, stand with me, live free.